Cancel the summer meeting.
If we don't have anything to do. Now, if we have a due date for early
Yeah.
voting, we might. I got a plan that doesn't include Southwood.
We're not
Nowhere.
Not doing anything. Just discuss it.
Yeah, I don't have a due date from the state yet, so, yeah.
Testing, testing.
If there's no place, that.
I agree. Totally agree.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't know where Mr. Smutsky is.
He's going to be absentee.
Hmm?
He's not going to be here too.
Okay, I spoke to him earlier. I didn't say that. Okay. Ryan, are you ready? Okay. Good afternoon. Welcome to the October 21st board meeting for the Brunswick County Board of Elections. This is going to be a regular board meeting as well as consideration for absentee ballots. If we could all stand and do the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I almost missed the chair.
Grab it first, my dear.
Yes.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. Are there any comments or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for today's meeting.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We have a meeting minutes from September the 12th. Any comments or changes to the minutes from September the 12th?
Can we just like approve them all at the same time?
We can?
Okay.
All right. Let me rephrase my comment. Any changes or comments on any of the minute meetings? Have a motion to approve?
I so moved that we approve the minutes
Okay.
that are included in our agenda
All-
packet.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Public comment. This time we invite anybody that has a comment to address the board. Okay, thank you. Consideration of absentee ballots, Madam Director.
I will defer to Ms. Rushton to present the absentee ballots today.
Just trying to remember to turn my mic on there. Today, we will be considering 62 ballots.
Can't hear you. Oh, I don't hear that.
Ryan, can you hear me? In echoey. I think that's what it is.
Do you hear her over the? Oh, okay, it's just me then. Okay, sorry.
I don't even know if this one works. Like a double up there?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Perfect. So 62 ballots will be considered at today's meeting. So we'll start with Butch opening the Verity Central Scanner.
Hello, everybody. First, we got to unseal our V drive, and that seal number is 37471329. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Correct.
If it's ever not correct, you will know because I will say, what? And I'll say that again.
It's happened.
All right, and our ballot counter currently is at 15.
That's correct. That's what we had at the end of the last meeting.
Okay.
Yes, you can go.
Okay, so to start, we have 55 ballots that are recommended for approval. These are the ones that the board will spot check. We do have 48 civilian. We have 2 overseas that will be duplicated during today's meeting. 1 military that will be duplicated during today's meeting. And 4 accepted exceptions. These are civilian ballots that were returned with properly executed photo ID exception forms. So Christy's going to bring those to y'all.
That's funny. Grabbed them from 2 different spots and it's the same.
Same witnesses.
And it's the same people that I used to work and grab them from. Don't even next to each other. Huh. Yeah, it's been a while.
For the benefit of the board members, you have a new item in your packet today for the absentee ballot. So under tab 3, the very last item is a spreadsheet that essentially breaks down each type of ballot you're reviewing, the action that's needed, and the type of motion needed. That may be helpful as we go through the process.
It's so little.
It is so little. Oh.
Everybody's had a chance to review ballots. Okay, Adrian? Continue? Good, Adrian?
So the next step would be a motion from y'all.
Hey, like Paul, I can hardly hear you. I don't know what the problem
Is
is.
it lapel mic?
I have the lapel mic and I have the Paula mic.
Well, I'm thinking the lapel mic, turn it off since you're stationary. I think the two of them might be. Let's try that. Here you go.
How's that? Is that better?
Much better.
Yes, thank you.
actually, Yeah.
You're welcome. So next up would be a motion.
So we need a motion to approve?
That's the staff's recommendation.
Yes.
So I make a motion to approve the 55 ballots recommended for approval from the director's office and the Board of Elections office.
We have a motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do is Christie's going to start with the duplication of the UOCAVA, the military and overseas ballots. So Myrtle and Pat.
The duplication is complete.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to move on to opening the remaining approved ballots.
Ms. Sarah,
Yes.
so it turns out that the two that I looked at were from overseas
Mhm.
and they were husband and wife.
Okay.
What if they put the ballots in the wrong envelopes? I wasn't able to see.
Well, the ones that were duplicated were actually returned electronically.
No,
Oh.
the ones that the spot
Oh,
check.
that you looked up. So they have a number on the top of the ballot that's assigned to that voter. And you may recall if that comes up, we do bring it to the board's attention. So if we're able to confirm that husband's number is on wife's ballot and wife's number is on husband's ballot, and they live in the same household, we can approve those.
I remember seeing that.
Mhm.
But on this side, how do we find that?
It's the
Fine.
team that's looking for that. So they know to look for the number on the envelope and then also look at the number on the ballot when it comes out of the envelope. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Behind the school bus. They're waiting for the kids to get all the way into the house. Or the parent come out in the front yard. But I'm sorry, it's coming down that road. I was a couple minutes like this. But, yeah. I was able to do it. It took 45 minutes. Behind the school buses.
Wouldn't doubt it.
I can do that. Very sweet. It's not enough.
Thank you.
All right, I'll keep moving. Next, these are recommended by staff for approval, but these are ballots that require board review. They are accepted cures. So these were curable deficiencies. Their photo ID wasn't readable, so they sent in a new photocopy of their photo ID. And they are both civilian ballots.
What was that final comment?
I said they're both civilian ballots.
Which, while we're just reviewing these, your final count, you mentioned, how many did you count?
55 so far.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so next would be a motion.
I make a motion to approve the 2 cured ballots presented to us today.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, these next, we're going to take one at a time. These are pending board decision. The first one is a civilian ballot returned with the ballot in the sealed return envelope. So Christie's going to show y'all the envelope. So it should have been in the ballot envelope, but it was not. And if you want me to elaborate on that further, I can.
Just want a little piece of tape on it.
Yes, I would. Let me see.
So Ed, these are the ones where the state has instructed the staff to reseal the return envelope with a notation of sealed in return envelope. And the board will open it in the next meeting, which would be today.
Thank you.
It's taped shut, so.
So in the last election, the board would oversee staff opening the envelope and reviewing for all properly executed documentation. So if that's okay with you all.
We have a motion to open it.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Not sure if I'm, okay, I am on. Everything is properly executed.
And Christie, if you just want to let the board review that.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We'll move on to the next one.
Need a motion to approve it.
Oh, sorry, Sarah. Sarah reminded me we need a motion to approve the ballot.
We have a motion to approve?
Yes, motion to approve.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, Christie, so the next one Christie is going to present is a civilian where the voter has indicated that their photo ID documentation is inside the ballot envelope. So the board would need to to approve the application, which is the envelope, for staff to be able to open the envelope and confirm what's inside.
Have a motion to open the envelope?
I'll
Wait.
move we open the envelope.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I think you need a new razor blade.
Yeah.
When was having problems.
I feel like we might have some, so I just.
Make a motion, we authorize staff to find new letter openers.
So moved.
So that if they took off the appropriations.
Okay, the ID was inside the envelope and is proper.
Okay.
So I move to approve the ballot to be counted.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Great. So the next one is going to be very similar, but instead of a civilian, it is a military ballot. So it was mailed to the office and the voter indicated that their photo ID documentation is inside the ballot envelope.
I so we move to give you permission to open
Yep.
up that envelope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
ID was inside and it is valid.
Okay,
Well, so I move to accept the ballot to be counted.
all right. We have a motion to accept. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and this last one is also this is a civilian ballot. It was returned by an unauthorized person. So what Christie has for you all is the ballot envelope and the return log. So numbered memo 2020-23 does state that delivery of an absentee ballot by a person other than those listed on the log is not sufficient to establish that the voter did not lawfully vote their ballot. The county board shall not disapprove an absentee ballot solely because it was delivered by someone who is not authorized to possess the ballot.
If we have questions about that memo, we should talk to the state about it.
That is correct.
You got it. So I got a dumb question. How does this not promote ballot harvesting? Where you could have somebody dumping off multiples?
I cannot answer that for you. I do know that if we saw one person delivering many ballots, we would inform the board about that. This is the one ballot we've received for this election where it's returned by
Yeah.
somebody that's not authorized.
Do you record what their relationship to the voter is?
Yes, it's on the log. It says
Okay.
friend.
So.
Yeah.
And we've had them in the past where there's a couple living together while still not being married, and the one individual returned both ballots, and it's a matter, we found to be acceptable.
Yeah.
I think as the director said, what we're looking for of somebody walking in with 20 ballots.
Right.
You know.
ID has an exception form.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve or disapprove?
I so move to approve the ballot.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You.
So they can open those
Yes,
for.
please.
So it's probably just whichever ones they picked up.
No.
No,
Mhm.
yeah, I get it. No, I think it's just whichever ones they picked up.
Just check it. So I'm a little. I'm in it.
Civilian ballot. Registration denied or tentative challenge. I guess so.
Okay, and last up is a civilian ballot that we are recommending for disapproval. Witness information was incomplete. The ballot has been spoiled and a new ballot has been issued.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Adrian?
Sure. The last up is a civilian ballot recommended for disapproval due to witness information being incomplete. About that ballot has been spoiled and a new ballot has been issued.
Okay. So we have two for disapproval. So am I
Just
reading it
one.
right?
Just the
Well-
one,
We have this one and there's another one coming up.
just the one.
It says information only.
Oh, that's not for consideration. That's just, we're telling you how many are pending cure.
Which would be this one, is pending cure,
No, not this one.
not yet.
No, this one's, you're talking about this one? Yeah, this one's not pending cure. Yeah, the pending cure one is one that has a deficiency that can be cured, but they haven't sent in the information yet. So we just, for
Oh.
informational purposes, make you all aware.
Just so, I'm sorry, I'm being dense at the moment. So we have this one ballot and we have 3 lines on the documentation here relating to this one particular ballot. Is that correct?
She's looking-
No, the other two, that's a template spreadsheet that I'm sharing with you all. Those are just lines that don't have any ballots.
Where the number is.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's why.
Sorry about that.
That's
I
all
can
right.
hide those next time.
No,
Okay.
It's not this. I'm just
We'll get
old
used
old
to it.
man. Takes me a time to ramp up. That's
First,
okay.
first time through it, we'll get used to
The meeting will be over.
it.
Say again?
So by the time we ramp up, the meeting will be over.
Okay. All right. So. We need a motion to disapprove pending.
Okay, I just wanted Joe to see before I made that motion. I make a motion to disapprove the ballot.
Okay. We have a motion to disapprove. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Butch, that's all of the ballots.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead and save everything. All right, that brings our total to 76 ballots, which is what we've scanned all together.
Maybe, just question. Today, we had 15,
Yes,
you approved, you have 761 for today.
yes,
Okay.
that brings us to
So approved.
76.
Confirming 61 approved and 76 is the total for us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and now our seal numbers for our V drive box is going to be 37471328. Again, that is 37471328. And then for our ballot bin is going to be 5723153 and 5723154. Again, that is 5723153 and 5723154.
Okay.
You.
Board members, I'm going to start passing down today's audit sheet where we log the seal numbers and the cover sheet for the approved ballots. And then what we're going to do is we're going to let the absentee team have a few minutes to pack up their items and depart before we move on to the other items so that they don't have to stay here for the duration of the meeting if they don't want to.
No.
While these folks are packing up, just a word of clarification for the folks in the audience. What Butch has done is he scanned every one of those ballots into the memory of the machine, but they have not been tabulated. They won't be tabulated until election night. And all of the seals that we have are audit controls to ensure that nothing has been tampered with between this meeting and our next.
Thank you.
Your when and Julie can go. I think she's taking the mic. Yeah.
Not used to this on that.
Is Surrey still on?
Yeah.
It's really crazy. Oh, cool. Another county watching our meeting.
Miss Sarah.
Yes.
Okay, and again, I apologize to you for being late. I got the school buses
Oh,
are waiting until the kids get into the house or the parents come out in the front yard or something. I'm sorry.
I think we've all been stuck behind a school
no
bus a
need
time
to
or
call.
two.
No,
Yeah,
But
thank you.
I want to go back to the minutes, which I missed.
Okay,
Okay, because plan to start counting absentee ballots on election day at 2 p.m.
we are not doing that. We never passed a resolution to do that, so we will not be doing that this election.
Okay,
We discussed it. I mentioned it to the board because the state recommended it, but the more we thought about it, we didn't see any need for that to happen here.
okay.
In
Was
Brunswick
I here for that meeting? Okay, good deal.
You didn't use based upon the volume that we have? Is that,
Yes.
okay. If we had a huge volume, then we could
Yes,
do that.
and really, we also thought about if we started that board meeting at 2 o'clock, that would take staff out of the office for more time. Yeah, so it was just part of the discussion. When we talked about the implementation of the condensed timeframes, it was something that we, at the time, thought very seriously that we were going to do. But we're not. We're gonna meet at
And
5 PM on election day.
That condensed time frame is relatively new this
It is
election.
brand new. It
Yeah.
is, this is the first time we will be dealing with the 3 days to count all provisional ballots
But
and
that,
absentee ballots.
And what happens if we don't?
That's a great question. There's nothing in the law that says what will happen if we don't meet that deadline, but we will meet that deadline.
Well, this section, I would hope so.
Yes,
okay, so then we will be meeting at 5.
5 o'clock.
Got it.
Yes, that has not changed.
How many provisionals do you think you'd get next year, roughly?
It varies. I mean,
Roughly
It's 20.
500.
500?
In a primary, it would probably be, well, I would say smaller, but in the primary, that's when we have a lot of provisional ballots for incorrect party. So it's really hard to say.
I seem to remember 2020 election. You added 400
Mhm.
provisional ballots during canvass.
Mm.
Well, I thought it was more than that.
Well, the during canvas that we count is one number, but the number cast is what we actually have to look at. So, and it's usually much larger.
And the number, yeah, the numbers rejected were huge.
Yes, we still have to go through all of the research steps.
Okay, you have to be
Yes.
registered to vote. You have to be in the right precinct, you know, if to be in the right county. It's amazing what people think they can just walk into any place to vote, and it's good.
Yeah. So the absentee team is cleared out. So if you want, we can move right into director's report, which I can just say this is part of it.
You have the floor.
So what we were talking about is we had considered meeting earlier election day. That will not be necessary, but we will meet at 6 and it will likely be a continuous meeting. If we have a break, we will pause. The board can recess for another point in the evening to come back and consider any ballots because we have to have time to review any that are hand delivered by 7:30. So it will probably be a much more active evening for the board members than you're used to.
I thought I heard you say 6. What, did you say 6 or 5?
5 PM is when we meet.
Right, okay.
Yes, if I said 6, I apologize. I did not mean to say.
It could be my hearing.
Yeah.
No, she said 6.
Okay, yeah, so 5 PM and then we will, recess along the way as we need to take a moment to consider more ballots that were brought in and bring those to the board and audit them and things like that. So it will be a busy night, I do believe. Okay,
Okay.
so what I actually had on the agenda for, director's report, just, an update on where we are with early voting. Early voting seems to be going pretty well. As of the start of the meeting, we were at 1,005 voters so far. So, it seems to be steady. I wouldn't say it's overly busy. I haven't seen long waits, but, it seems to be going pretty smooth. We've had no problems. And then I put on here an opportunity for us to tell you all and the public about upcoming poll worker orientation sessions. And if I can, I'll defer to Melissa to talk about what those are and why they're important and why people might want to know what they should come to.
Poll worker orientation is a first step for anyone that's interested in being a poll worker. It's sort of elections 101. ABCs, 1, 2, 3s of elections in Brunswick County and what is necessary to be a poll worker, what someone is committing to. We want folks to have an idea up front of what they're signing up for. We need poll workers. We have encountered not as many people are interested in working as previously. And we are encountering that people initially say they want to work and then they come to training and then they decide they don't want to work. So ahead of the primary, we will need additional poll workers. So these sessions are on the calendar and there's a link that anyone can register to come to one of these sessions on our website. There's a link to sign up for those 3. We will offer at least one virtual session. That date is yet to be determined. So we're starting right after the election, November 20th, and then we'll have 2 additional in December. Hopefully to get more folks interested in working in the primary.
Do we have a feel for how many poll workers we're actually going to need in the field this coming election in the primary? I know in the past, we've been as many as almost 500, so,
It will not be that large for the primary,
okay.
but we're looking at probably 350,
I'm sorry, say,
probably 350.
okay. I think unfortunately, a lot of the public doesn't understand the volume of resource that we need, including people, to be able to conduct elections. And it's always a challenge, so.
That's all I had for director's report.
Okay.
Melissa, another question. We're thinking of recruiting people who have done observing that haven't yet worked in the polls to come and talk to you about it. Would that be a good source?
Anyone interested is a good source.
Yep.
Poll worker just can't observe in the same election cycle. A poll worker cannot serve as an observer in the same election cycle.
Well,
So,
we understand that, but,
yeah.
but what we're saying is that, people that have observed what's going on could easily move into,
absolutely,
being a poll worker.
absolutely.
I know a lot of people have done that over the years.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. I would welcome that.
Just a word of information for my fellow board members. Yesterday, the director and I met with a woman named Pierce Lewis from the State Auditor's Office, and she is relatively new to a position as a field representative for the State Auditor's Office.
There was never such a thing before this year, that's why.
No, that's true. She's also brand new since beginning of October, I think she told us. She had graduated for UNC Chapel Hill in 24 and spent a year as an au pair in Paris, which I guess was tough duty, but anyway. So we had discussed a number of things and challenges associated with elections, and just wanted to to share that with everybody, so you were aware that that was happening. When she left us yesterday, she went over and met with Commissioners Forte and Cook and Steve Stone, the county manager, and probably had very similar conversations with them, so. Okay.
Anything earth shattering you can tell us about?
We had discussed in very general what elections were, assuming that she knew nothing and she was coming from a zero knowledge base. We discussed the potential for election day voting centers and how that may be an appropriate solution, at least for Brunswick County, to manage the growth that's coming in. And so she was going to take those things back with her to report to her bosses. So we may get some support for that, which we're hoping for, so. All right. Any other thoughts, comments? Moving right along. Unfinished business. Early voting for the 2026 primary elections.
Okay, so we did discuss this at our last regular meeting, and I'm just going to provide a few updates. I wish I had more updates than I actually have for you. I can tell you, I have confirmed with the state, we do not yet have a due date for our early voting plans for the primary election. The state board reports that their board will meet on Halloween, and that is when they will tell us what our due date is. They expect it to be sometime at the end of November. So we do have a little bit more time. Another thing to report is that Randy was at an event with the mayor of St. James and learned that they actually have, I guess it's a mayor's meeting with 5 area mayors monthly. So the Southport area, I'm imagining Southport, Oak Island, St. James, you know, those areas. And I reached out and asked if I could come speak with those mayors because we just cannot find anywhere to have early voting in that area. And unfortunately, they could have us or have me come to their November meeting, but it is the day after the election. And with our condensed time frame with the provisionals, I am not in a position to be out of the office. So I will be going to their meeting January 7th. Randy might be able to go, but I think we were hoping that Ryan and I would be able to be there to talk logistics about what we need a facility to have. Maybe Randy can reach out and see if he could go. So January 7th, that probably will not do us much good for the primary election, but maybe we can get some support or learn of a location we didn't already know about for the general election.
Yeah, but we've done changes last minute with other voting locations, so if you do find someone generally.
I don't know that the state board would tell us no if we found a new facility. I think the challenge would be that if I go to them January 7th and then I need to bring it to the board, early voting starts February 12th. So that would not give us a lot of time to make sure we had enough poll workers and, you know, things like that for the early voting cycle. After the last board meeting, we did have discussion, the board had discussion about leaving the board meeting and trying to find some possible locations in the Southport area and the Charlotte area. Ed and Joe did provide us with a list of area or possible locations in the Southport area. We've looked at those. Some of them we've already looked at. And actually what I had Ryan help me with is create a condensed list of every location we have considered in the Southport area. Because it's long, it's not for lack of trying that we have not found something in the Southport area. We just cannot find anything that will work. So we might find a facility that's happy to have us, but the room's not large enough. We might find a publicly funded facility, but with the road construction on 211, it might not be safe. We just have run into roadblocks everywhere we go.
So we're not going to use the senior center at Southport?
No. No, we stopped using that for early voting in 2024 because of the challenges we face with that shopping center being so busy and they have so many tenants, many doctors' offices.
No.
There's not enough parking there to facilitate the voters and also those businesses. They can get by with one day, which is why we're still there on election day, but it could get very dicey with 17 days of voters taking spots and blocking businesses and so we have.
So the airport was a bust.
The airport was a bust. They were very willing to have us at the airport. The challenge is the room that they had, it was not really big enough, but on top of that, there are these large furniture fixtures, these large desks that could not be removed from the room. So that really took that spot out of the running. Yep.
What's up with
Man.
this Duke Energy place that they didn't respond to you? They said they unable to accommodate.
That was their response. They'd be unable to accommodate us. So.
That state?
Hmm.
Is it a state?
That's a private facility. Yeah. And unfortunately with a private facility, they,
No, we have,
yeah, they have no need. Ryan, did I miss
Looks like
any
public
of the
utility.
highlights? I mean, the list is there. You can read some of our feedback. I'm really hoping that, meeting with the mayors, maybe one of the mayors thinks that, they have a facility that they might be able to move some things out of that we had not thought of before, and they'd be willing to have staff, clean out the commissioners' chambers or something. You never know. Maybe something will come up out of that meeting with the mayors for the
Maybe.
general election. I just don't know that we have anything for the primary.
Let me be sure I understand. Right now, our hope is really in the meeting with the mayors.
Mhm. That is my last hope for finding a location in Southport, yes.
And if that doesn't work,
Then what?
looking at this list that we have to make a decision based on the least of the bad problems.
Mhm.
Okay. Would you identify what would be your worst case? Because we will have time to go back and say, for example, if you were to choose the Duke the Duke said no.
Mhm.
If you were to choose Fort Casual, well, they said no, just pick one on Beach
Mhm.
Road, okay? If you were to choose that as a last result, we will have time to make it happen. If this meeting does not go well with the mayors.
For the primary, probably not. No,
So we're really pushed up against the deadline.
yes.
Will we need something before the next scheduled meeting, or will we probably have to have a special call meeting to
Once
address
I
this?
get a due date for the early voting plan, that will help me decide when we should come back together to talk about the early voting plan. So if they say that it's due at the end of November, we would probably need to schedule a special meeting. We could put it on the agenda of, an election-related meeting if we put it in the agenda and notice it out, but some of those meetings towards, election day and after are going to be very busy meetings for us anyway. And I think throwing in the discussion of early voting, if we don't absolutely have to, would probably be overwhelming for, us and members of the public. If they wanted to come participate in that discussion, they may have to sit through us considering ballots and things like that. So.
Right. It seemed to me that it's, Mr. Chairman, we have a situation here. And I guess we just have to keep our fingers crossed that the meeting with the mayors go well.
So worst case scenario, can we have the state force a gym in a school? I mean, because you have to have an early voting spot. I mean, it's not like,
I am so hesitant to try to do early voting at a school because election day, they close. There are no students present. Early voting, even if we could find a gymnasium that was not attached to the school, that is still a lot of commingling during drop-off and pickup times
Right.
of voters and parents and students. And I just,
I know, but there has to be a place. I mean, I'm saying that's like the total, something like that, 100% the last result, but there has to be somewhere in South Brunswick County. I mean, it's just.
I mean, for
in this
years,
day and age, I can't
yeah,
believe we don't have a place to vote. I mean, it's ridiculous. Been going on for how long?
years.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
we've
no
been
help.
looking for an alternative to the senior center since, early 2024.
No, I remember
Trying to
that.
find a solution, and we've not really found anything viable since then.
So the senior center in Calabash isn't a viable alternative for early.
No, not in Calabash.
Right.
No, that one is not because they have a standing lease with a church. I think it's a church now. It used to be a church. They have a standing lease that they could not break to allow us to use the facility. And it's a wide open room, so it's not like we could have half of the building and it could be shut and locked and the other group could have the other half.
Can we negotiate with the church?
I mean, I don't know why we couldn't. I don't know who they are, but you know.
Well, it's a lease with the county, so it has to be public. I mean,
Well, with Brunswick Senior Resources, which is affiliated with the county, funded by the county, but also private. I don't know that they're a true governmental.
it's like a public benefit corporation or something, so
Mhm.
that should be
Mhm.
public information.
And you don't want to use the Charlotte place for early voting.
The senior center, no. The senior center in Charlotte, the challenge there is we have tried to set that location up every which way we could think of. We, used the big open area and then also a room to the side. And then we realized that we have to have everything in one room. So we smushed everything into the bigger area, but it's not a true enclosure. So we are there and the only thing keeping us separated from people coming for meals and people coming for bingo and the gym is like stanchions, like ropes. It's not a true enclosure. So
Okay, so not being on
Mhm.
your side as much.
Mhm.
I've always thought that was a pretty good setup. And if you don't want to use stanchions, maybe you can get
Mhm.
those curtains,
Mhm.
okay, to separate it out.
Mhm.
I always thought that was actually a fairly good setup, but
It's not the worst, but I think the fact that it's not a true enclosure because the people in the voting enclosure can see, hear, and talk to the people utilizing the senior center. I think that is where the challenge is coming in.
okay, kind of like the electioneering within the limits, right?
Mhm.
That's what you're concerned about?
Yes, like the law is very clear about who can go into a voting enclosure and who cannot. And the fact that because there's no walls and doors, the voting enclosure there really essentially is that whole space because there's no delineation between the front desk, the people coming into the meals, and what we have going on the right side.
Would you know what curtains I'm talking about, right?
Mhm.
They're big long poles and, 6 feet high.
I would have to get some feedback from the state on whether a curtain would suffice. I don't know what would suffice. I'm just uncomfortable with how we do it now. I think there really need to be some walls or something like that to separate the spaces.
And I noticed that Brunswick County Schools took over 2 buildings at the end of that road. Would either of those have room for early voting?
I don't think so. So one of them, it's a warehouse
Right.
space, yeah. And I know the last I heard, because the county is actually leasing some space in the warehouse, but they have not yet started moving things there because there are challenges with the HVAC system. And so it's not climate controlled. So I think there's work still happening in that facility. I don't know if there would be anywhere in there that would be a suitable enclosure or anywhere that was blocked off. I'm happy to look into that.
Let me, just as a point of personal clarification, Sarah. We might need to find something that is not ideal
Mhm.
to get us through this while, for example, the road construction on 211 is
Mhm.
completed with the U St. James, for example. We may need to find, we may even need to go back to the senior center for one more year while we wait for this road to be finished. We need to find, we need to be to the point where we're considering the least of the evils. This is using an old saying that we can get by until we get to the following election.
So we build a facility? I mean, really, that's.
We've asked.
And
We have definitely
that-
mentioned to
yeah.
the county that buildings at all of the parks would be super helpful for us.
But whether it's a school or church or whatever, we need to have something And I guess we're getting into a discussion for the next meeting when you're gonna bring that back, but just bear that in mind. Okay.
If
thank you very much.
curtains aren't good enough, what about things like cubicle walls?
What?
You know, cubicle walls?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear what you said.
Right, okay. You know, if you had a
Mhm.
half dozen of those, that might separate it
Min-
out enough and
You have them.
and
have
they would soundproof. Okay,
Just take them anywhere for some, bring them.
just,
It's just unacceptable, man.
Tough nut.
but I think having South or Sunset Beach open and having Calabash Senior Center for early voting, I think is overkill.
Mhm,
You know, we need to spread it out a little more.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah,
We had both last year and both were busy.
Early voting?
Yeah.
Okay.
no,
While I was during the presidential election, we had,
we were at Sunset Beach Community Center.
yeah.
Mhm.
And the lines down there were
Ridiculous.
ridiculous. And but we also had, at that point, we also had Shalot.
Shallow, you said Calabash. I wanted to make
right.
sure.
I
Yeah,
was
we did
back-
not
I
have
was back in-
Calabash and Sunset open.
I was back in Calabash, sorry. Sorry for the whiplash. But yeah, I don't think we need two early voting centers in that area that close.
No.
But
Mm-mm.
You know,
Tents,
I realize that
fields.
there's a lot of challenges with staffing. But, you know, it seems like we're kind of locked into or have been looking at, and I understand it entirely, you know, one place for the Southport area. If some of these places where we didn't have sufficient parking, if we were able to get two, so you had two smaller ones rather than one large one, would that parking situation alleviate itself that it may become a viable one, realizing that now we have to staff two voting centers rather than just one? I just throw that, I don't need a response, but I just throw it out as a
Mhm.
stupid idea, so.
I would tell you all of those things would be wonderful if we had a little bit of flexibility with the schedule.
Mhm.
If we could determine our own hours, if we could, you know, stagger opening, some of those kinds of things that we can do in municipal elections, we used to be able to do. Some of those things, having two sites close together would be a lot easier, so.
Okay. Well,
Staff and I will roundtable again and see what we can come up with.
wish we had some magic answers for you.
Yeah.
Ryan snickering.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on 2026 primary?
No, sir.
are we going to talk about the times on the weekend?
We don't have
You're
places,
welcome.
right?
You guys are welcome to talk about that. Yeah.
Okay, so,
I mean, I'm just letting you know, there's not gonna be a resolution today or anything on that. So,
Okay.
Looks on the table, it's the next meeting. So,
okay,
all
all
right,
right.
I have no problem discussing anything, but yeah, I'm not gonna make final decision.
Basically, what I was wondering is what time do we open on Saturday and Sunday? Are we opening
What do we
8,
usually do?
10, 12?
That would be up to the board. Typically, we would do 10 a.m. on a weekend.
So I was thinking 10 to 4, both days, both weekends.
Is that
Or
what,
is-
that's what we usually do, right?
Well, no, the second weekend is 10 to 3.
That's what we have to set.
Well, the final weekend, the Saturday has to be open 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. The
Okay.
other weekends can be determined by the board. So,
Yeah, we have a
so
choice.
February 28th, we have to be open 8 to 3 at all of the sites.
Okay.
So 10 to 4, you're saying?
Unless staff, I mean, do you get a lot of people between 3 and 4? I mean, would it help to be open that late or should we just do 10 to 3?
It definitely starts slowing down later in the afternoon.
Sure, yeah.
But we do see people between 3 and 4. I mean, I don't think that It's when, if we were open until 6 on a Saturday, I don't think you'd see anybody. Towards the 6 o'clock range, most people by then are finished with their outings around here on Saturday.
Okay, so, and then Sunday, do we open at 10 or do we wait for church to get out?
What have we done? We've done 10, right? We've done 10. Well, the one Sunday, I think we did at noon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We've
12 to 4.
done noon in the past.
So,
12 to 4 on Sundays. And I'm thinking that during primaries, maybe we only need one Sunday. But, you know, that's a future discussion, and I would have it on the 22nd,
yeah, that's,
12 to 4 on the 22nd.
have to see how, check the previous, where we used to do it.
Yeah.
We've done the past.
And consider as primaries, maybe we don't need it on Sunday the 15th.
Dave, let me think on that one.
Yeah, I'm putting it out there, like she said, we,
As I said, that's
yeah,
what I said,
we're not deciding today, but I put it out there.
If it would be helpful after this meeting, I can send you all the last few schedules, just so you
That'd
can
be
see what our
perfect.
weekend hours were.
That'd be
And-
perfect. And how many people voted during
Okay,
those times?
Yep.
We have the Tableau numbers from
We
those.
have, for
Mhm.
example,
Yeah, I can send the schedule and turnout for the last few elections.
That would be very good, helpful. Thank you.
it's almost 17% of the people voted in the weekend last night. Which, 6% voted on Sunday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, almost 6% voted on Sunday. So let's think on that one. I appreciate your comment.
Remember, Rowan County, even since January, we gained 5,000 new voters since January.
Yes.
So cutting back on hours is not what you want to do. You want to increase hours. So 5,000, that's crazy, right?
Okay, but it is only primaries.
No, of course, of course.
Okay.
There might be a half time there's nobody running in primaries anyway.
So 10 to 4 on Saturdays, 12 to 4 the second Sunday.
Good working number. Thank you. Any new business?
I do have an item that I added yesterday. And I actually got the information into your agenda packet as you were walking in. It has been updated on the public agenda packet, so what's on the website does have this new information. I was asked to put this on the agenda by a few board members, and the discussion has to do with commercial addresses for voter registration. Whereby there are some Brunswick County voters who appear to be registered at UPS stores, mailboxes, et cetera, you know, something like that where someone may have a mail receptacle. And the remedy for that is that a voter challenge can be filed against those individuals that are registered at one of those locations if it is believed that they should not be registered there. Now, typically, those challenges would not include any individualized knowledge of the voter themselves, but more so about the address. And because of that, a challenge dealing with someone for that reason, without any individualized knowledge of a voter specifically, would have to be held and finalized by December 3rd, because 90 days before a federal election, there can be no systematic list maintenance. And there was an injunction in 2018 court case that basically said, for this reason, challenges without specific information about an individual voter could not be heard.
So you can't challenge a location.
So yes, you could not challenge a voter because they're registered at an address that you don't believe to be a residence.
But you can
Maybe
challenge the UPS store? I don't know, how would you do?
Well, you would challenge the voter, but it couldn't be heard within 90 days of the federal election. So we could hear, if a challenge were
Next week.
filed, the board could hear it after the municipal election and before December 3rd.
Okay.
and that, it's just point of clarification for me.
Mhm.
There are two addresses in the registration. One is a mailing address, another is resident.
Yes.
So you were saying using the resident, using a commercial address for the residents.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Hey, Steve.
for clarification, I'm sorry, I picked up my wrong printouts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but I have a printout. There were some, they came through several hands before they got to us. But what it is you have 33 people in Brunswick County
Mhm.
that their mailing address is a PO box. It turns out is, UPS store or one of these others. But the residential is the same PO box.
Well, you
Okay.
can't, it's illegal to have a PO box
And,
as a
and
resident.
that's our point.
Right.
Okay, so if it's illegal to have your residential address. Now, I recognized one or two names. So I thought maybe it had something to do with confidentiality. But when I look it up on the download from the state, I go over, it's not marked confidential. But, okay, but I mean, there it is, the mailing address and the residential address are both the same address and they're both these commercial establishments.
Let me make a comment. There is one case where a person can use a PO box for his residence. That if the court has ordered that. For example, if you've got a person in, what do you call it? Witness
The
protection,
confidentiality program.
confidentiality.
Excuse me.
Judge orders that, then they can use the PO box, okay? And that would be fine. But we have to verify that that person has or does not have that that court order that would allow them.
Well, like I said, I don't,
And I agree with you, if the PO box is used, yet when you look under confidentiality, it is not there, then somebody made a mistake.
that's right. And I think my comment, like you said, you're not supposed to use a PO box for resident. So I wanted to let you know that we were thinking about this, okay? Because I know you can't do it, but I appreciate what it takes to challenge it, okay? It's good to know that the state board has made the decision as late as yesterday. What we need to do to challenge it. But you still have a situation where the information is deficient, which is the same thing we're going through with the repair project now. And so I'm thinking maybe the state ought to take a look at it and I don't know if anybody here wants to do that, but I'm thinking maybe the state ought to take a look at it and use the same repair project on that. There were 33 names. A half a dozen of them are already inactive. One name I recognized, I went and found out that that person did get married and is now living in another county. But, that's according to Facebook. Okay, so, there are reasons, but if we made those things inactive, then they could bring a HAVA compliant document when they want to try to vote again. And if they don't try to vote, well, then they're going to drop off. Except one of them was registered as late as May of this year.
So I can tell you a few things because this is not the first time we've had dialogue about people registered at these commercial addresses. This has come up before. We have in the past gone in and identified those addresses, and if nobody's registered at it, we can actually take that out of our geocode. So if someone tries to register there, we ask questions. We would say, we don't show this as being a valid address. Is this where you live? Can you tell us more? But once a person's registered there, so when we did that, if somebody's registered there, we can't do anything with that address because there are court cases and there are decisions from the State Board of Elections about residency, and that residency does not have to be a traditional house. So, a person that's
A homeless
unhoused.
person, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
so they would put the location that they normally sleep. So in theory, and I'm not trying to say that's what these people are doing, but because they put that on the form, we got them registered. We can't do anything with that record administratively because they have registered and they need to have due process to come and tell us, this is really where I live. I sleep in my sleeping bag in the parking lot. Or this is not where I live, let me correct my registration, or allow them to at least have the opportunity to be heard by the board through a challenge process before the board makes a decision.
So where does the process break down where you've got the data entry going in wrong like this?
Well, the data is not going in wrong. We are putting into the database the information that the voters provide us. When we have addresses in our system, it's a range. We don't look at every point on the map and say, that's a house, that's a business. That's a house, that's a business. That's a vacant lot. We can't do that. We do not have the capability to do that. So when we code streets, it is every address on the even side of the street from 200 to 5,022 is in this range, and that is a valid address. And so,
You talked about the geocode earlier, so
Mhm.
how does that part work where you're saying where?
well, so the geocode has existed forever. And what we do is we work with the county GIS, which is the Geographic Information Systems. We work with 911 because they have to have street addresses mapped out precisely. And we take that information and put it into our system to say, if somebody's at this address, they would be in House District 17 or 19. They would be unincorporated, or they would be in the town of Leland. They would be, we lay out all of their jurisdictions that way, but we do it in chunks. We have never had the capability to code our geocode database by individual parcels. And I don't know what it would take to get us there. That would be wonderful. But right now it is, if somebody tries to register to vote and the range is 200 to 5,000, we don't know within that range if, from 200 to 522 is houses, and then it turns into a business strip, and then it turns into houses again. So we don't have knowledge at that level. So if somebody writes it on the form, our system says it's a legitimate address, we're going to register them because they've signed that form under penalty of perjury,
Excuse me. Is that part of the SEAMS system?
Yes.
So that's actually controlled by the state,
Well, the system, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how we do our geocoding is controlled by the state.
but it's not something that is written and maintained by anybody in Brunswick County?
No.
Okay.
And we didn't expect that you would be able to fix it.
Mhm,
What we did
mhm.
want to show that it was brought to our attention.
Yes.
And it's obvious that the state needs to do something about it
Mm.
if it's going to get handled.
They really have more important things. to do.
Yeah.
So in your
Well-
packet, I did pull information that I got from the state about, one, why we would not be able to hear a challenge like that within the 90 days. So I pulled the recitation about the court decision that made that change. And I also provided you with some information about, decisions that broaden what you might think of as a residence for voting purposes. So I just wanted you to have that available, so it wouldn't just be changing the statute or getting the state to reinterpret something. There are several things that go into why it's interpreted that way, and we're given that guidance. I wanted you to
Yeah.
have all the homework, and the electronic version does have hyperlinks. So you can click it and you can go read like court decisions and things like that,
Wow, thank you for that.
I did not want to read. I did not have time to read, but if you want to read them, you are welcome to.
Okay,
Didn't want to read.
No. Mm-mm.
thank you for all that. Like I
Yeah,
said, it was
of
brought to our attention and
Yeah.
we just didn't want to go running off without getting the information.
Yeah,
So
no.
thanks for providing all that.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll help.
All right. Anything else for the good of the cause?
So normal list maintenance and all that wouldn't catch this kind of stuff.
No, because when we do list maintenance, list maintenance where we mail a card to someone we haven't heard from, we're sending that to the mailing address. So if it's being received or not being returned undeliverable, the assumption is that the voter received it and that's a good address. And that's the mailing address. So other forms of list maintenance, if they moved somewhere or died or committed a felony, we would get their information that way. But as far as just catching them that that's not a legitimate address, we don't. It wouldn't catch that that's not a legitimate address.
Okay.
Before we adjourn, I just want to make mention that I will not be here next week.
Correct.
Okay? Just
You
so
and
that-
Randy will both.
Nor will I. Okay, I guess we'll have
Hold on to fort without you.
Joe will be here. I'll be here.
Paula, and I will be
Okay,
here.
so you'll have,
As long as we have three, we can meet, so, and one from each party, we're good.
Okay, good.
all right.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.